a child who got thrust into a very important job against her will.
Sometimes you
Do
gotta
with
kick
that
a
what you
child
will.
in the ass.
Yeah. So
In my case, maybe uppercut one too.
yeah. But all that being said, I guess we should do story time because maybe this'll, I don't know, maybe there's like a lesson out of this one or something. Because in our most recent session, Sam and Isaiah, you'll know where I'm going with this. This will pertain to your question, Matt.
Sure.
A character who I didn't necessarily think was gonna be a villain, but ended up being a pretty good villain, and had a pretty satisfying ending. And the thing that's kind of funny is I didn't do it necessarily. Okay, explain the whole thing. Because I said to Isaiah after our session was over, I was like, yeah, I didn't really do anything to make that work. I just kind of set the dominoes up and knocked him over. And I still think that's true. But like, obviously I'm running the game, so my hand is in the, but that was a weird analogy. I was about to say my hand is in the pie, and I was like, that's a strange analogy. What am I trying to say there? I don't know what to. Obviously, I'm influencing the situation. I'm running the game. But what I mean is that things happened very naturally.
They fell into place because of player actions and DM actions.
Yeah, they fell into place. So I would love to say I could tell somebody how to recreate the situation with this character, Letum, but I kind of can't because it just sort of happened. So this character was Sam. Sam started the campaign as a warlock. This character was his warlock patron. And, you know, warlock patrons, the idea for most of them, the way I look at them, most of them are like, they want a little something out of you, or they have an agenda that's their own. And, you know, they're giving you a crisp high five and some Eldritch Blast powers, but, you know, they're going to want something back in return at some point. So I was sort of seeding the idea that Letum was maybe getting a little cocky and wanted to, you know, he wanted a pay raise and he wanted to, you know, maybe become a god and control the dead. You know, like, yeah, maybe what he wanted to do. Maybe.
Normal villain.
Yeah, he was getting a little hubristic, but he wasn't like evil. And actually, even to this point, he's still not evil necessarily so much as he was just getting overly cocky and arrogant about his position. So eventually, for another reason, Sam ditches this patron, becomes a paladin, and sort of signs up with a different interdimensional being. The important thing to note here is neither of the characters that Sam signed up with are gods, but they're powerful. But they don't control the world necessarily. So he got real mad about that. And then Sam went and, well, not just Sam, but the party did some actions that very specifically made Letum look bad to all of his friends and or coworkers. Really, they're not friends, they're coworkers. And by doing said actions to make him look bad in front of his coworkers, he got really, really mad. So he said, you know what, Leah, which is Sam's character, sorry, you gotta die because you can't be doing this to me. So he sends after, I talked about this a little bit in like 2 episodes ago, but he sends after Leah, the other players' tertiary characters, to go and kill him. That whole thing happens. Then they say, all right, bitch, now we're going to go beat your ass. So the players went to his house, basically, kicked his door in and, you know, bludgeoned him with a crowbar.
Nice.
And it was good and satisfying because there was, you know, there's a couple of things that really set it up. First of all, he's been there since the beginning of the game, right? He's been a character who's been present the whole fucking time. He's always been around, you know, always coming up in various stages. So you get attached to him, and by attached I mean like, I guess familiar is probably the better word. You get familiar. You don't necessarily like or dislike, but like the point is you get to know the character. And then they do some fuck shittery, and you're kind of like, well, that's interesting. And then you get to see, you know, there's a progression that you get to see, and then finally there's this payout. And also the payout is related to other characters. It sort of shakes up the world in an interesting way. There's other ramifications that are going to come from it. Obviously the players get some rewards. That's kind of a side thing, but it's a thing too. And also from like a mechanical standpoint, it was a good, he's a lich, or his stat block was a lich, and he was in his lair. So he was like, get to do the fun in lair in the lich fight. He summoned some undead, buddies to help him out and fight and stuff. So it's like a lot of things just fell very neatly into place. But if someone were to say to me, hey, try and recreate that, I cannot.
There's a lot of planning throughout the entire campaign.
Because that's the thing, right? It wasn't planned.
Or not planning, but like foreshadowing things falling into place. Like you're saying,
it wasn't even foreshadowed. It just sort of was a natural progression. I did something with the character. I did like Letum did something, Sam did something, and then Letum did something, and then Sam did something, and it just kept going back and forth in such a fashion that things just escalated in a very natural way. But I couldn't recreate it again if I wanted to, because I need a player who's going to cooperate in the way that Sam cooperated, right? And B, you need to make sure that things need to work out at a similar pace. That's the other thing, is I didn't control the pacing of the situation in any way. It just sort of happened the way it happened. And it just, like, I didn't twist the knobs or dials at all. It just sort of happened at a pace that felt relatively like it made sense. So if someone were to turn to me and be like, yeah, so if that works, then just do it again, my response is I don't know how. I can try and do it again, maybe. It's like, it's a little frustrating on my end, because one of the few success stories with a villain I can think of, I didn't feel like I had a very strong hand in. So, yeah. Story time over, but I figured I would tell that at some point.